Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Don't Let It Stu. Today's guest is the hilarious and unapologetically bold Krissy Bowles. I don't know how to pronounce your last name, by the way. You've seen her like roast people all over Instagram. I mean, that's how I found her. Like, I just came across one of your Instagram reels one day and I was like, oh, she's funny. Like, I want to get to know her. So get ready for some unfiltered fun. Krissy Bowles, welcome to Don't Let It Stu.
Thank you for having me. I really do feel honored to be here.
Oh my God, don't be silly. I mean, I'm just like, I tried this fucking podcast thing out of like, I think we're like 26 weeks in now or something. I'm like, oh my God, it's so new. And it's like, no, you've literally nearly done it for half a year. This is a half a year now.
It's good though. It's good that if it feels new every time, that means you're doing something right.
You know,
Right?
it's like people ask me like, because like I'm a chef, I've done like TV stuff, I write cookbooks and things like that. And the Housewives cookbook got me in like the whole like Housewives world.
Right.
With Amy Phillips and so forth. So it has been fun and it's been different.
Mm.
And then like this podcast was just about everything that's not cooking. Like you can ask me cooking questions. I don't care. But it's just like fun stuff I like to kind of do like day to day.
Right.
Or like watching TV, and I love to like shoot the shit with people like you and like get your thoughts on things and stuff like that. It's fun. I'm having fun. And when it's not fun, I won't be doing it anymore.
Exactly. That's exactly what everybody should live by.
So I texted you earlier and I was like, okay, look, come up with something like to get off your chest. If you want to go first, that's fine. I can go first, whatever you want. Usually I go first, but I want you to go first.
You want me to go first? Okay.
I don't know.
No,
Yeah,
I'll go first. I mean, I'm pretty easygoing, but I just feel like since I've been doing what I do,
Yeah.
I wish people didn't take things so seriously, especially on the internet, especially when it comes to celebrities and their favorite celebrities and how they think some celebrities can do no wrong. Sorry if my dog is making noise next to me. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I
Friendly.
I feel like, I don't know, like just this is fun. And the same thing, like when this is no longer fun for me, I won't do it anymore. Because if I can't like do it to make people laugh or like see another perspective of things that's maybe not like as serious or as, or if I try to put some levity into things and people just don't get it anymore, I'm not going to do it. But it's just like, it's the internet, it's TV. Like we should all take a chill pill.
Yeah. I mean, your reels, like you are unfiltered. Like you go full on. Like I wouldn't be able to do that. I'll get attacked. Like people would come for me. Like
I get attacked. I get attacked. I do.
I've had my year of being attacked. Believe me. There's been a lot of that. But well, I always feel like these celebrities would come after me, or like the Housewives. I know a few of them, so I'm like, I need to be very careful, like what I say about them. But I will always give my point of view because I'm reacting from the TV show,
right?
And what
Exactly.
So, like it is what it is,
Exactly.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like it can be. It's again, I know when I watch your reels as well, like you're kind of tongue in cheek as well with it. You know what I mean? Like you are a bit serious, but then you're like, guys, come on, like it is what it is. This is what's happening, and I'm going to talk about it.
Right. And to what you think, like to your point, like it's what these people are putting out on TV, no matter what, and whether it's Housewives reality TV or like the music industry, like that's what they're portraying to us. So like I can say whatever I want about that. That's my opinion.
Sometimes it's really interesting stuff. It's kind of like, wait, what? And we'll get into the whole Diddy thing in a bit. I had kind of like a thing come up today, and I kind of, I do Kabbalah, and I pretty much say that like every fucking week. People are sick of saying it, but the whole thing, one of the things you learn in like Kabbalah one, the first class is like, don't react. Like, so it's like, so if you get a thing, like you're meant to pause, you're like, I have everything, I don't need anything, like I'm good, like let this pass. And it's great. Like, honestly, I do it so much, but there's always going to be times I slip up, right?
Right.
Because I'm a reactive person. So I went to a furniture store. I need a new sofa, and I've been thinking about getting one. I went to an awards thing on Saturday night with Amy Phillips. They had a silent auction. For this furniture store that I was going to buy this sofa. And I'm like, oh my God, this is kind of crazy. And it's so specific. I think I have a good chance of winning. So the minimum bid was $1,000. But if you win, you get a $2,500 gift card. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm going to do one bid. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. I got the text message at, a few hours later. Hey, you have the winning bid. You win. We'll call you tomorrow for $1,000 and we'll give you the gift card.
That is great. So cool.
Yeah, it's great. And so, so the store has like a sale on right now. I think the sofa is like $2,500. The protection and like the delivery, everything out the door is like $3,200, right? Out. That's key to the story. So I go into the store today. They sent me the gift card last night on a PDF file. And it said like gift card 2,500. Here's the code. You can do it in the store, online, whatever. So I go into the store. I'm like, I'm going to go in the store. I'm going to see the fabric just to make sure that's the one I want, color, etc. I go in thinking this is going to be like 10 minutes in and out the door. So I'm like, here's my information. This is the sofa I want. This is the color I want. It's beautiful. It's ready to ship. It's even better. I'll get it in like 2 weeks. I'm like, awesome. Fucking great. I said, I also have a gift card. She's like, great. Can I have that code? I'm like, yes. So remember, the total is $3,200, right?
Right.
So $3,200 minus $2,500, you're around $700, right? That's what I would owe, right? So she puts in the code. She's like, okay, so the total is $2,700. I'm like, no. I'm like, okay. I said, okay, do you want to go back for a second? I said, no, it should be 700, and said 744 to be precise. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah. Like, I'm just like, I've never seen that before. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, no, it's legit. There's this guy, his name is whatever, Brynn, from the store. He sent it over to Project Angel Food. Like, he knows this is like 2,500. And
right.
She looks that. And so what happened was they took so basically because I had that gift card, they now took off the sale price. Now I'm paying the full price for the sofa. So they took $2,500 off the full price, which the full price was, I think, $4,000. So we'll say $4,400 plus the $400 protection thing, this protection thing. So it'd be $4,800. Then they took $2,500 off the $4,800. So it was like $2,700, whatever it was. And I'm like, I said, okay, let's go back for a second. I said, if I had my credit card right now and I want to buy this sofa, how much is that sofa? She's like, $3,200. I said, okay. I said, I have a gift card for $2,500. That's cash. Like, that's like money.
Yeah.
I said, so $2,500 less $3,200. What is that? She's like, yeah, I know, but it looks, I'm like, no, there is no, I know. It's like, it's $700. Like, she's like, well, we'll see what we can do. I'm like, no, like, don't see what you can do. It's a gift card. Like it was just, I felt like I was in like
Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone. I just was like, and then another guy came out and he's like, yeah, we'll figure it out. I'm like, you'll figure it out as in like, you're going to make it work, or like, you're going to override the system. Obviously the discount code was put in and the box wasn't clicked. Can this be used with other promotions or whatever, but that shouldn't matter because it's a gift card.
Right. I wouldn't think like, that would matter.
I was losing it in the store.
Did you get it?
I know, you're like, give me the punchline. After about 40 minutes, 3 phone calls to different managers, she finally put it in and she's like, oh, it looks like it was put in as like a percentage discount. I'm like, great, no problem. Here's my card. But it's like, I'm not lying. Like, I go in there and I'm like, here's your store. Here's the email that I got from your guy at the furniture store. I'm not lying. It was just.
That's very frustrating. Extremely. I get it. And I worked retail for a long time, so I understand like the tricks they pull to like, try and get as much money as they can because they don't want to lose money.
No, of course.
But
it was like, I just thought it was so funny. She was like, yeah, like that's it. I'm like, so now I'm paying more for what I paid for the car. Like, it was like weird. But anyway, that's all I wanted to take off my chest because it just happened like 2 hours ago. I was like rushing to get home.
So that drink's tasting real good then, huh?
So I made myself an espresso martini because we're recording on a Friday. So I'm going to have my cocktail. What do you think is going on with Jersey?
Well, we know they're on a long pause. I I think they're going to, I don't want to say reboot. Everyone loves that word reboot. I feel
I
like
don't
to
think they're
me,
gonna do that.
yeah, because a reboot is like they're redoing like everything. Like I really just think they need a little bit of a recast, a little like just a little pinch of something different. And
Yeah.
personally speaking, I think it's time because you saw what they just did with New York.
Yes.
I- you know, people weren't all as loved as that cast, the original cast is or was.
Mhm.
The ratings weren't there in the last season, and I feel like they needed like a retool. And with New York, I really do feel like you have
Wait,
to keep it fresh.
the ratings were not there in Jersey towards the end?
Right. No, in New
What?
York.
Oh, no, New York. I mean,
Yeah, the
was that
last, like,
when
season.
the COVID-y kinda season where they
I
went to,
think
like,
yes.
well,
Yes, and I
I
get
mean, it
it.
was. Yeah.
I get it. But, like, I just feel like New York needs to be fresh. New York needs to be, I hate to say this
Mhm.
because I don't wanna sound ageist, but it needs to be young. It just needs to be,
Yeah.
like, younger than the original cast was, and I really like what they're doing with New York, in all honesty. I
Yeah.
think they got a good mix. I know it got a lot of shit. Can I curse? I'm sorry. It
Yeah,
got a
yeah,
lot of
you can do it.
it got a lot of
Yeah.
oh, you said the F word before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It got a lot of shit, you know? But I think that
Yeah.
maybe with the season, it's gonna hit its stride. But as far as New Jersey, I really feel like they got some good people in there. As far as, like,
That's what I'm saying.
Danielle,
If there was, like, 2 people say, I think they could just kinda bow out for a bit, like, not come back next season, like, who do you think?
the obvious
Like,
answer would be
do
Jackie and
Melissa
Teresa.
Jackie and Teresa, okay.
That would be
Nothing Melissa
pretty obvious,
Jackie and Teresa, okay, okay.
just from
I
the
just
way the last season went. But
sure, just based off the season, I know it's like they're not talking, it's like something's gotta give there.
right, right. But some people and, you know, maybe Dolores, just because of how long she's been there, because there's a lot of
No,
people that
I'm
want
friends
that,
with
like
Dolores, she has to stay. I
I
love
love
her.
Dolores. I do too. I do too.
Yeah.
But there's also, like, there's the friends of that are kinda waiting in the wings, you know? You have Tiffany, you know, like, it's just I think people are just itching for a change with New Jersey. So I kinda just feel like if they just tweaked it a little bit, people might be happy or happier,
Yeah.
um, because it might be
I
getting stale. I don't know.
and, you know, it's maybe it's me as well because I feel like I just really kinda tuned in to Jersey in the last, like, 3 seasons.
Okay.
I just get overwhelmed with too many of them, you know, and
Right.
even when I wrote that book, like, I needed Amy Phillips to be the expert on all the housewives, what's going on, so I could create the recipes because I didn't watch them all.
Yeah.
Now I'm, like, in. Like, now I'm, like, Jersey, Salt Lake, Beverly Hills, OC, like, they're my 4 now, and
Yeah.
with her, Beverly Hills is starting back up soon as well.
It is. It
So,
is, yeah.
there's great television, like, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's, like, amazing. You watch New York, do you watch Salt Lake?
I don't I tried to get into Salt Lake, and I think really what threw me off was, like, the fact that I can't get over them having to get glam and then go step outside in 4 inches of snow in their heels. It's just like, I don't know.
It's
It
just
just
the most, like, unglamorous, like, franchise out
yeah,
of all of them. Like, this week, like, just, like, for example, like, this week, you're like, "Oh, they go on these, like, great trips." They're fucking going to Milwaukee. Like, that's where they
ew.
went. I know, it's just
I mean, nothing
like,
against
look,
Milwaukee. It might be really cool. I've never been, sorry.
nothing, but, like, where's, like, Cabo? Like, where's, like, like, somewhere like, New York, maybe? I don't know, like, take them somewhere. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's so
Are they,
random.
like, too far up in the country to, like is it too expensive?
No,
Like
like, Salt Lake City is literally like an hour, I think like an hour and 25 minutes from me in Los Angeles. Like, it's fun. I've gone a few times. I've gone
yeah, it
snowboarding. It's
looks
fun.
cool. Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
cool if you ski or if you're a Mormon, it's awesome.
But I mean, to live there, like, I don't know. I mean, the main street is cool. The bars are fun. Like, it's fun. It's fun to go for a few days and then, like, get
Yeah,
out. But
yeah.
it always gets cold and freezing. And, like, I mean, they went to Palm Springs last season, which was actually kind of funny. But Milwaukee, the drama is good though. Like, the stories feel
Yeah,
real. It's nice.
yeah, okay. I don't
So
know. I never gave it a shot, and I'm one of those people, like, if I don't latch on in the beginning of something, I kinda give up because I don't know,
I
I'm
know.
just that way. I can't jump into something, like, halfway through.
Or maybe if you watch the last episode of the last season, and then jump into the new one, because the last episode was so good on the beach. It was like Big Little Lies, the way she reads out the thing. It's cool. It was kind of fun.
I saw the clips. I know.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. All right, so that's Jersey. I mean, I think I'm going to call it now. I'd say they're going to start filming. I think they're going to start up in like November. I do. And I haven't spoken to Margaret. I haven't spoken to Dolores about it. I could ask them, but like, you know, sometimes I'd rather not know, because then I would just get in trouble.
You know,
then get something, you know. But no, I don't want that. I just feel, because they can't hold off for too long, because Bravo has schedules. Right. You know, they gotta get like, they probably have like, okay, Jersey needs to be on by like March next year or whatever it is, right? I just feel like, because, or even no, they're probably not going to shoot. I mean, it would be kind of amazing if they started it up at like the middle of this month, so they get Halloween, and then they get like Thanksgiving and then Christmas, so they get all the great like holiday parties and fights and all that stuff. Right. My dog is like, my wire. Milo, are you cutting the wire? Hold on. Milo, move. Hold on. Come here. Oh Jesus. Come here. Oh God. Okay, you okay? There you go. Yeah, now he's fine. He's so funny. He starts biting the wire. Okay, so that's Jersey. So on to, and we're going to get to New York, but I feel like you're like kind of the expert with the Puff Daddy thing. P. Diddy, Puff, Pa. I don't know what
love. I don't know, whatever we want to call him over the past 20 years. I mean, I think it's a bunch of ick. It's but it's nothing he hasn't been telling us for going on almost 30 years. I don't know, close to 30 years.
Like, the signs were all there, and it was kind of like, oh, it's like Puff Daddy, like parties, like whatever, like never mind. Kind of like, oh, they're all doing it, kind of thing. And now I saw your last reel, and by the way, you can follow Krissy at Krissy Balls on Instagram.
Yes.
And what's your podcast name again? What's it?
Pop Culture with Balls. I'm on TikTok at Pop Culture with Balls.
I love that name. It's amazing. I saw one of your reels, and you were like, oh, like Beyonce, Cassie, P. Diddy at a table, Jessica Alba.
Yeah. Like, what do you think? I mean, that was from a tweet that it's unsubstantiated, and it, you know, but it's just like, to me, all these things that sound so outlandish or would have sounded so crazy, like even a month ago, they're probably like real, and they probably happened. You know,
go ahead, finish.
No, I was just gonna say, there's nothing like too out of the like realm of anyone's imagination at this point.
No, for sure. And it's funny because you had that on your reels, and then I, you know, was scanning TikTok last night, as I always do before I go to bed, and then I can't sleep. But there was something about someone was at a restaurant, P. Diddy was there with Cassandra, and there was a businessman, and I guess he turned to her and hit her and just turned back to the guy, like, just to continue the conversation. No, Kathy Griffin was talking about it on her TikTok. I watched her last night. She had a video up, and she was kind of like, why the fuck is nobody doing anything? If I was a woman and if I was in that restaurant, I would be getting up and I'd be going, you know, or whatever. So it kind of sounds similar to your kind of story.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people, like, even if, you know, in that tweet that I mentioned in my TikTok in the video, even if Beyonce was there and people were commenting, oh, Beyonce's the ultimate peacemaker. Yeah, but you're like commiserating with this now, and you're condoning it by just not, by letting it continue to happen, like not speaking up about it.
And the thing about it is, as well, oh God, we could spend a whole like 2 hours like on the podcast talking about this. I mean, it just keeps going on because I have something else popped into my head as well. But it feels like they're just all terrified of him and scared of him.
Yeah. I think I believe that. And I think more so than any Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, because that's terrified in a different way. You're afraid of, like, you're afraid he's telling you, like Aubrey O'Day is somebody who signed so many NDAs because she couldn't talk about it, but she was telling us the whole time too. Like, they're afraid that he will definitely not let them work anymore. He knows people in every industry, every medium you could think of, he knows people in, you know? So yeah, you had reason to be afraid. Now, I mean, the bodily harm, the physical harm, like that's a whole other ball of wax. Saw it on the video.
so like it obviously it is true.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh God, I always like bring it and I have a t-shirt on, so it's embarrassing. But even there was like TikToks about Taylor Swift about like she never got involved in all that stuff, and like that's what they're saying. Like some of her songs are about that, like "Who's Afraid of Little Old Me," like and things like there's little like
jabs.
nuances in
Nu
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
and
don't
it's like there was one song I think on the Reputation, and then the private jet looks
Mhm.
like Diddy's one in the
Okay.
Reputation, whatever, like in the video, and then there was another part in the video where it looked like kind of like an orgy, and then it like flips, and that, like
Yeah.
it's so many little kind of I guess like we call them Easter eggs,
Right.
the Swifts do, but and they were saying like the only reason she's never ever got near any of these people was because of her parents.
Yeah, she's got good, like,
Yeah,
parental supervision in that respect, and a lot of artists that started as young as her do not, hence,
do
like,
not.
what
Yeah,
Justin Bieber is going through possibly with this whole thing and his connection. But yeah, I mean, all these interviews we're seeing now from Jimmy Kimmel and Conan O'Brien, where he's sitting there and talking about like, the parties. He's like telling us like this stuff's gonna happen, and so many people know, and the people that are speaking up about it, I give credit. Like Cat Williams, even this Jaguar Wright, who's been speaking about it for years, and she's kind of blown up with her videos on TikTok.
mhm,
Just
yeah.
and she was just on like Piers Morgan too. That was her first kind of mainstream thing I've seen her in since this is broke. Um,
And I mean, are people not scared even talking about it? Like, I mean, we're
I
fine,
know.
obviously, because it's there, we're just commenting on stuff, but
Yeah.
these people like speaking up and like coming out and be like, "Hey, I was at that party. I was raped like whatever 20 times." Like all bullshit or whatever, not bullshit,
Yeah.
but crazy
No, no, no,
stories.
but yeah. I they I would be. I would be. It's insane. I mean, you look at the people that he worked and started Bad Boy with, and he worked at Uptown Records with, and
Mm,
they're pretty much all dead. Um,
yeah,
two of them
I
had
think
like
that was the
pneumonia.
yeah.
Like, they're pretty much all dead, like, young and for odd reasons. So, I it just and Tupac and Biggie, never mind them, like,
Yeah.
I there's definitely a connection, and it's like waiting with
Mhm.
bated breath to see what comes out. So, yeah.
Do you think he has like a list of all the people that went to these parties? Like, do you think a list is gonna come out like the
Like an
Epstein thing?
Epstein list? I don't
Uh,
think so, but I do think he has videotapes. Like, I don't think there's a list because there's not, like, flight logs, like, that guy apparently had flight logs, but
right.
I do
If you're
there's
going to a party, there's gonna be a guest list.
yeah. Well,
And they're
true,
gonna be on
true.
a document somewhere. They're gonna be like on a Google Doc or it's like, "Hey, here's the guest list. Don't let anybody in without
I
whatever."
There's videos. I'm telling you there's videos, and as far as, like, Ben and J.Lo apparently breaking up because, like, he was told that there's video evidence of her, I don't know how true that is, but they collected a
Mm,
lot of stuff from his house when they raided it. So they know things that we won't know for weeks, and it's just a
yeah.
matter of time, I think.
Um, like Heather McDonald like posted something the other day. I was watching it and she kinda had a point. She was kinda like, "Is this like the end of like Hollywood? Like, is this the end of like all these celebrities now? Is everything gonna be kind of like just low key now, normal? Like, what's happening?"
Yeah.
She
I
has
think
a
it
point.
has it's a good point because, as for as many people as went to the white parties, which I think I mean,
Mm,
the white parties still go on Long Island, they're just put on by somebody else. They're
yeah.
fairly innocent, they're for show, they're for the press. But he told people and he made announcements. There's video of him making an announcement like, in 25 minutes, the real party's starting. If you don't want to be here for that, now's the time to start packing it up. And then,
Just
yeah,
so
I mean,
confident.
he would have the people that he would have to how do you say this? The people that were abused and the people that were taken advantage of were wearing black at these parties. So people knew, hey, that's someone I can do
Play
whatever
around
with.
with.
Like, yeah,
Whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
I mean, it's
God.
just yeah. So I think a lot of people knew, and I think people might have to live with that the rest of their lives. I don't think people I mean, we might be surprised, but people want to link Leonardo DiCaprio because he likes younger girls. Like,
Yeah.
if nothing happens with him, um, he still knew. Like, people knew about it, and that's just something they have to wear. in their heart.
Jesus. I mean,
So,
yeah,
this
is going to go on. This is going to go on for months and months and months.
It
really is. We'll come back for round 2. Okay, New York. You spoke about it earlier. You obviously like it. You like the new cast. I like it too. I do like it as well. And you're right. Like, not to be ageist, but like, it is nice to see. It's like, it's fresh. It's like, it's young. It's not like super young. It's like a nice, like mid 30s, 40s, like late. Yeah. That kind of my age.
Same.
I like it.
No, I just said same. Like it's just a good mix. I think the previous cast, the OG New York, they had a good run, but I don't think, it is the age thing, and also like the drinking and the falling and it was just old altogether. But I think to get like just some new New York faces and of all different kind of walks of life in New York.
But that's really good point you said, because it really was crazy how much drinking, drunkenness, falling over, bushes, torches, like whatever it was. Yeah, like falling in bushes, torches, drinking out of pitchers of margaritas, like everything. It was wild. It was wild. Now, this one is definitely more reserved.
Mm-hmm.
Girls look like they have more of their shit together. Like, they're living the life in New York. Where do you start? Like, on the last episode, like, we're in episode 2 now, right? Or episode 1?
No, it was just the premiere.
It's the first one.
Yeah.
Like, it's just too many going on. I really want to know what's going on with Erin and her husband, because that was a moment.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, you know how they always push things in the beginning. They show the first 5 minutes is like what happened the day before. That's going to be so long and drawn out. I feel like that's just going to be just a drawn out thing. I felt like there was something off last season between them. It's just,
this is kind of crazy, but like, look, I'll just throw it out there. It may not be true at all. I don't even know if I can say this. Like, I feel like maybe, like, was there like, not an affair, but was there like a one night stand with somebody else? She found out about it. I don't know. It just seemed very, the way the confessional was, it was like, no, we're not talking about that, or we're not, and then she was pissed off because the mushrooms comment, which was clearly like a joke. Like, it was such a joke. I was kind of like, you're being a bit of a tight ass with this.
She is a tight ass, and that's what I didn't like about her last season. She's a little uptight. So yeah, I mean,
she's able to kind of like very go like, skim the surface, but she does say shit like all the time.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what to think, but I do think you're on like the right track. There is something there.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Who's your fave on there?
It was Brynn last year. So I love Brynn. I love Jenna. I have a friend that used to work for Jenna at J. Crew. So
awesome.
She said that Jenna Lyons is like the most, like, she'll sacrifice anything to help, her as far as an employer. She was a great boss. She was a great person. So, but Brynn, I like. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say Brynn. I like Brynn because the same reason I like Erica Jane, the same reason I love Margaret. Like, she's just outspoken, speaks her mind, doesn't really care what people think, and has a good time with this show. Like, that's what you're supposed to do.
My dog is like eating something. Milo, stop it. Good boy. You listened for once.
That's good.
Brynn, I just feel like she says a lot of things and then doesn't take accountability for them.
Yes,
I don't know if I believe. What was the last thing that she said about Erin? She said, that she called Jenna poor or something.
Yes, because Jenna's car broke down, and she needed an Uber. Yeah, I mean, and even Erin said, like, Jenna Lyons, like, a $10 million apartment, $5 million beach house. She's not poor, yes, I think she's a little immature in that way, because these other ladies, I think, have a little bit more life experience, but at the same time, she had a really hard upbringing. So
Yeah.
there's,
True.
there's a little bit of like a
Yeah, I
seesaw
remember
going
that.
on.
Yeah, I kind of felt bad for her with that whole story. I remember at the table she was crying. It was like, yeah, it was a lot.
Like her
Uh,
grandmother brought her up and, you know.
yeah. And then,
Yeah.
so her storyline is Erin went on, obviously, Jeff Lewis Live, and they were talking. And then I guess was it Jeff brought up like, oh, where does she make her money or like whatever.
Yeah.
And Erin kind of avoided it though, right? Like Erin didn't be like, oh yeah, she's like a hooker or like she has men pay for her or anything. She didn't say anything like bad.
No, I think she was just very like, I want
Why
to
didn't
say
you show?
yeah, like what she said, like she makes money, like she gets her money. I'm not gonna, but she said like I'm not gonna say where. She was kind of coy, something like that.
Okay,
She said, but she was very like a little coy about it. And didn't her husband chime in at one point and say like,
whose husband? Oh, Erin's
she
husband?
with him? Was she with him or some?
No, Doug
No.
was
Oh,
another
okay.
person. Yeah. And I think Doug was like, hey, like, so what do you think or whatever? And then Jeff is like, I think someone pays her money,
Yeah.
gives her money, whatever he
Yeah.
said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, it's kind of like there was a massive question mark over her with that. I mean,
Right.
even I looked at it last season. I'm like, where like we don't see her what she does. Is she a consultant? Like, did she ever reveal what she kind of did or I
I
don't
don't
know.
think so. I think it was no, I don't think it was even implied really what she did, to be honest with you.
So
I
it's
think we just
kind
kind of went with it.
I mean, I know it's like none of her business, but like
But
you're on
isn't
a
it
show.
because she's on a TV show?
Yes. Okay, that's where it's like okay to ask, right?
Yeah, of course. You're on a TV show purporting that you make a lot of money, enough money to rent an apartment and get all this
Which looks
furniture like she was doing in the first episode.
which looks about like $8,000 a month, that apartment in New York City.
Yeah. And she got a
At least.
couch that she probably didn't use a gift card for, Stu, you know? So, I mean,
She's not spending $1,000 at charity auctions.
no.
We go to them though. That's something that needs to play out because I think we all want to know now.
Yeah.
Especially
I think on these
since
shows
Jeff.
you can only go so long before people start getting restless and they start like demanding to know things. And they start getting frustrated.
They start getting frustrated because I think the way she acts and she's very
Mhm.
like, I'm the shit, like you did this. Like
Right.
she's very doesn't give a fuck what she says, even if it goes to
Mhm.
hurt you or whatever, or gaslights you. And it's like, okay, you're being a bit of a mean girl now, and you're maybe saying things because of whatever. If you're going to do
Right.
that, I feel like we deserve to know more about you. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean,
You
I'm on
know?
board with that. I love her attitude. I love her spunk. She's
Yeah.
funny. She makes me laugh.
She is.
But she needs to give a little bit more. Totally.
A typical what I kind of noticed is a typical like housewife thing is always like they go to therapy. They see themselves on one season and they're like, oh God, I'm kind of a bitch. Like I need to go to therapy. And so I guess Sai is doing that now.
Yeah.
Sai's going to therapy.
She wasn't my favorite last season.
No,
She wasn't.
she's too, like she's too aggressive.
Yes.
Like she's
She's
angry.
real harsh.
Yeah. She's angry with the world or angry like her life is not a different way or angry about something.
Yes.
I read a TikTok comment and I copied and pasted it because I thought it was actually kind of funny. I still wish Sai wasn't back, but it's kind of nice to have someone who is so blatantly horrible on the cast versus someone like Erin who tries so hard to control how she is portrayed.
Yeah, that's so true. That's
It's
very
so
true.
true.
Very insightful. Whoever wrote that. Kudos to you.
Yeah.
Because yeah, Sai is I mean, she says she's trying to better herself, but I don't know. She's somebody I think that's just the way she is. She was what was she? Brooklyn or Bronx? Like she's just always
Yeah.
says how she's from the streets and she's, from the block and
yeah.
yeah, that's the way she is. And she's unapologetic about it and that's amazing and no issues with that. But yeah, I mean, I do think seeing yourself on TV might flip the switch a little bit.
Yeah, and then she flipped it on this episode, and then she was like in the confessional. She's like, just wasted all my therapy, and I just fucking blew it. Kind of, you know, I went to therapy. I won't do that. But look, like I understand. I lost, you know, I kind of lost it today at the furniture store. So all my work I've done. So it happens. Really does. Okay, please clear this up for me because I think I'm going to be asking about this every week, and I don't know what's happening. But Jessel's husband is now a food influencer. Like
it looks that way, right? Like
they show him at this like hole in the wall like Thai food restaurant or whatever restaurant it was, and
it was eating. Chinese. It was in Chinatown. Yeah,
it was in. It wasn't Chinese. Was it?
It was in Chinatown. So let me just say, if you've never been, he told her to dress up, right? Or she said, "Do I need to dress up?" Thinking, I guess they're going to like a fancy restaurant because Jessel would, you know, like that's Jessel. And then he brings her down to the subway, and she's like, "I've ridden the subway twice, like ever." She's talking to people, and he's like, "Don't talk to people. We don't do that." You know, because
she's like,
that's the thing in New York. He's like, "Hi." Like, don't talk to people on the subway. That's like rule number 1. But like, yeah, he takes her and they get off, and it's Chinatown, and it's just like a hole in the wall restaurant. And look, some of those are excellent.
They're amazing. Yeah.
But you have to know. And when she walked up on that, she was just like, there's like 2 tables outside. You just walk in and you order. There's no tables inside. So she was very like appalled in her own Jessel way. But she was a good sport.
She was a good sport. You know, that's the thing.
She was.
We expected her to be total like CUNT, and she wasn't. And fed into it. And she knew the cameras were there. And she was like, you know what? I'm just going to roll. This is like a cool little segment. It's cool. It shows that I'm kind of cool. I'll just go with the flow and so forth. And she did. But I'm sorry. But again, comes back to money. How are they paying for their lifestyle? You don't make money as a food influencer.
No, is he doing it in his spare time? Because he's like a banker or something, right? Like, is he doing it in his spare time? But like, didn't he go to like Thailand or something for like a sandwich, like overnight?
Here was the thing. He wanted to hit a threshold on his airline miles so he would keep his status. It was a status flight. I understand that. I've done that too, to Seattle and back. Now, that was only like an hour, but it was to keep my diamond status on Delta. And that's really important to me, okay? So I've done that once, but I wouldn't go to fucking Thailand to do it.
No, what you're doing it's nothing. That's okay. This guy went overnight, and didn't he say like, "Oh, I'll eat, I'll take a nap, and I'll come home." That's a lot of hours on a plane.
But see, some people, like, there are just some people out there that just live for that. They live for travel.
Yeah.
They like an ex-boyfriend of mine, like he's like the same way. He lives for the lounge. He lives for the glasses of wine there. He lives to get on the plane. He lives for like I remember we had to book flights. No, we can't go at that time. We need to go at this time because we need to get the lunch. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I was like, no, we're leaving at 6 p.m. He's like, I don't like the breakfast at that time. I'm like, oh my God. He's like, let's leave at 12. We'll get a nice lunch and we can take a nap. I'm like, okay. Some people love it.
Hey.
I mean, I like it, but yeah.
I think if everybody had the chance, they would, but you know.
True. That's actually
all relative.
Yeah. All right. Final topic of the day, and I just finished it last night. The Menendez brothers, Monsters.
What did you think?
I loved it. Like I loved it.
I remember. I thought it was great.
It was really good, and I'm glad I finally got to see the story play out. And I know there was a lot of documentaries out there, but I just never couldn't be bothered like watching them. But I remember my friend Christopher, he had a birthday years and years ago, maybe like 8, 9, 10 years ago. And what he did for his birthday is he rented one of those Hollywood tour things that go around to all the houses.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
The star tour or whatever. I'd never done it. And he was like, this is kind of fun. I've lived here all my life and I've never done it. So a lot of us didn't do it. So we all went on it. But they stopped outside the Menendez house.
Wow.
And I remember my friend Jason going, that's the Menendez house. That's the brothers that killed their parents. And he knew all about it. And then he said something to me where it really stuck with me. And maybe you can confirm or deny this because I didn't see it on the show. One thing in the case was I guess when they came in with the shotguns and so forth, and when they found the bodies, there was college application forms on the table.
So what I think that was something in the case where it was like the prosecution was trying to say, well, if if his parents didn't want him going to this school and they didn't care and they were going to throw him out, why were there college applications forms being filled out?
Yeah.
So, just like I think a minor detail for the prosecution, especially in the second case when they didn't allow the sexual assault to be entered in as evidence.
That was crazy because I watched the last 2 episodes last night, and that was all about that. And then they kind of embellished it a bit with the juror that had a heart attack or a stroke or whatever she had.
Well, let me
That was
just
actually
say,
the first person. That was the first trial that happened.
that was the
Not the
first
second.
trial, not the second. But let me just say that is the most underspoken about cameo, because that was Vicki fucking Lawrence. Carol Burnett show. I
Okay.
don't necessarily expect you to know who that is.
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
But
Other people will know.
Other people will know. That was Vicki Lawrence. She really there was a show she did called Mama's Family back in the 80s, the little old lady with the bag. She's like a legend. She's like, but that was her. But I just needed to say that because I haven't seen that brought up, but in like one TikTok. And speaking of embellishment, look, a lot of people are really pissed off about how they were portrayed. Like, I really don't think Lyle Menendez was in a jail cell yelling, dimes, 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 motherfucking. Like, I think a lot of those things were put in there, but people are like really pissed off. Like, this is some kind of documentary or biography, and it's not. It's a Ryan Murphy production. So there's going to be like embellishments, and it's not going to be exactly because it's for entertainment purposes. And I thought it was funny. I thought a lot of parts were funny to bring some levity to the situation. But overall,
it was fun. I mean, Chloe Sevigny was great. I really liked her in it.
Yes,
But I saw that, I read that somewhere. I was like, okay, I'm watching it. I don't think you should be upset because I feel like the two of them really got their abuse story out, or it happened, or whatever did or didn't, whatever. Like, it showed how the dad was.
Right.
They told the story of the abuse. Everything was put into it. So their story was in it, even though they didn't get much of it in the second trial to be put in there. If they got any of it, which I thought was kind of shitty because that judge just didn't want to hear it. Like, she was just like, sustained, whatever she says, like objection or whatever. And he was just like, nope, continue. He didn't care. It was like, I just want to be done with this trial. I don't even want to hear anything else.
Right. I think that was because the OJ, like, they were so LA at that time. LA had gone through riots, earthquakes, floods. Rodney King, like OJ, OJ was such a fiasco. And I think that happened in between. And by the time that second trial came along, LA was just like, we're sick of this shit. Like, we can't do this anymore as a city. So we just got to like get them put away at any cost to make it look good for us.
I think so.
I think that played into it.
I think it definitely did, because it seemed everything was like sensationalized at that time.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I didn't even know. I remember watching the O.J. Simpson trial in Ireland, like when I was a kid. I had no idea what that was, but I remember like watching him being chased down the 405 and never knowing that I was going to end up living here like all those years ago.
Yeah,
crazy. And I didn't know what happened at the time. Menendez.
They brought the TVs when he was on the 405 when he was being chased into they wheeled a TV into our classroom. Like, that's how insane. Like, when I think back, I'm like, I was in like the 7th grade, and that's what I'm like watching on TV that they're giving to us to watch. But yeah, I just feel like, and also back then too, I feel like a lot of people were not like back, just circling back to Diddy because this is what the prosecutor brought out, or whoever, because now they're reopening the case a little bit for them, they announced yesterday. And just to circle back to Diddy, because the prosecutor said this in the press conference yesterday, back then a lot of people weren't comfortable with men getting sexually assaulted, let alone fathers doing it to their sons. And I think even in the second case, the prosecutor mentioned that they didn't have the equipment to be raped, which if you said that now, I mean, you can't say that. And that's terrible to say, but that was the general feeling back then. And I think that the show did a lot to give all the points of view that were out there back in the day.
I agree.
The parents' point of view, like people are like, oh, they're glorifying the parents. No, they're showing what, if you believe that they weren't abused, it's showing those people what this angle might look like. Dominic Dunn's angle, the Vanity Fair piece he wrote. So I think it did a really good job of that. Now the real documentary is on October 7th on Monday. So
right.
I'll be watching that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point I that you just said. Like, I just remember even coming out gay, like when I was 18 and then like 90s or whatever. And I just, like, just even that was just so terrifying for me. And like living in Ireland, I had to keep it to myself. Nobody could know my hometown I was, all right, like for years. So I couldn't imagine like if that happened them, like you couldn't tell anybody. There's just no way. And that woman was like, why didn't they run away? Why didn't they run? Where are you going to run to? Like, they'll be picked up around the corner in Beverly Hills.
Like, and they'd be returned, and their dad would just be pissed off.
To beat the shit out of them. Yeah. I mean, you know what happened in the 80s, 90s? Like, if you did something wrong, your parents, like, clatter across the back of the head, whatever, you know?
God, yeah.
We were all, like, reprimanded. But, yeah, so I'm excited. Monday, it's on. So it's on what, Netflix?
Netflix. Yep.
That's gonna be Monday Night TV. I can, and is it like a 2 hour, like, is it like 5 episodes?
I don't know. I don't know if it's like a docuseries or a documentary, but I do know that they're gonna have the original prosecutor, and she's sitting there in the chair in the commercial for it in the trailer, and she's like, if you believe them, you're stupid. It was just for greed. So she's still going on the angle that they just murdered their parents for money. Like, and I don't believe that. I don't either.
That Vanity Fair, that writer in whatever the actor's name is in the show, remember he said, those boys are a lot of things, but they didn't kill for money. He even said that.
Right.
So
after he saw them testify.
They had everything. They had all the money but they got everything they wanted.
Yeah, and there was nothing like they were like poor, and then they heard there was a will where they'd inherit money, and then that's when you do that.
Exactly. So. Chrissy, thank you so much for coming on. Please tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Krissy Balls. You can find me on TikTok at Pop Culture with Balls. I have a podcast. I've been very busy. Like, I have 2 kids, so now we're back in school. So it's like eventually I'll be getting back to that. But just follow me on TikTok, follow me on Instagram, say hi. I appreciate you having me again.
You get nice quips on her reels and on her TikToks, and it's like she compiles it all in those fun. I like them. Thank anyway.
You.
So
thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on, and enjoy your weekend. And
I shall.
And see you all again next week, everybody. Bye.
Bye.